Everyone, Ron Howard here, back at it with some more sequencing. This is part 5 of Don't Stop the Santa Man, where I am trying to convey what I think about when I'm sequencing and some of the sequencing tools that I'm using. Last week we talked about some tools for cleaning up GIF animations, so we don't have to go through that again. We also ended about a minute and 10 seconds last week, and I'm happy to report we are now up to 2 minutes, 5 seconds or so, halfway finished with this song. So, yeah, it's a lot of work because I might change my mind on certain parts. You'll see maybe a few little changes, not too noticeable, that I might have changed in some of the beginning parts of this. So, as always, because continuity is important, let's see how it feels, how it sounds, and how it looks from the beginning. So hang on, here we go.
Red suit and a beard so white, flies around the world in a single night, going everywhere. 100 million miles to go, through the rain and winter snow. And how he does it, I don't know, going everywhere. He moves so fast, but he stays so fast. From eating cookies off a welcome mat, flying on and on and on and on. Sleigh bells ringing up and down the boulevard. His reindeer speeding through the night. Rudolph leading, his nose looks like it's overheated. Fly.
All right, and I just noticed I hadn't put in my mega tree in this section here, so I still have something to do with my mega tree. So let's go back. I'm going to scoot this out of the way here, and let's just scoot it down here at the bottom. And I'll bring it back up if we need to. I don't want to put it there. I want that docking thing. Actually, I'm going to move it to the other side of the screen. There we go. So let's get to a minute and 10 seconds where we left off, and we'll kind of break some of these sections down. Here we are. And I think this is where we'll start. So for those of you that are on the xLights Facebook page, there's been some great training out about how to create diamonds. I think at the Christmas show in Chicago, there was some training there, and so I saw a video on it, and I said, hey, that does look pretty cool. Maybe I want to do it, but I wanted to maybe put a twist on it, no pun intended, where I wanted the black areas here to create the diamonds and then have the diamonds turning in a circle and then also have a wrap. So if we look at the bottom layer of this, I'm using Twinkle and about medium, about 50, and nothing else. I'm just using red, green, and blue, good Christmas colors, right? And those are my twinkles. And then if I go up a layer, I'm using the spirals, and I'm using red and blue. And I've made this one is mask. And then the one above it, one is mask again, red, blue. So what's the difference between these two? Well, the difference is if you saw that training on Facebook, you'll see that simply reversing the movement, or actually in this case, reversing the spiral wraps will do that. So negative 4.5 on the bottom, and the next one up is 4.5. So that creates the reverse, and that helps with the diamond. And then I added another spiral on top, and this is set to normal. And this is the red. This is what's creating this cool line that comes down here and wraps around. So I kind of thought that was cool. I like the effect. If we go up, we can look at the tree topper. I'm using a layer effect here. I'm using the this shockwave, which I really like for the center of the star. You've seen me use that before. And then above the star, I'm using twinkle. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. How about that? And this is 2 reveals 1. Again, you've seen me do this 3 or 4 times now. And the bottom one is normal. Keep in mind, here for the shockwave, I told it just to stay in the center area of my star. Whereas the twinkles could be all over, because 2 is going to reveal 1. So it's going to kind of pull that other information out of the way. And that's pretty much it with that. You'll see that in this section, I made all the house have twinkles. I wanted it to match what's going on the matrix. So let's go down here to the matrix. In the matrix, I have a few things going on. I have the fan effect, which is creating these cool colors that are going to be spinning because I'm using the accelerator to get that to spin. And that's over here in the options section. I've got it all the way up. So it's going to start slow, and by the time it gets to the end of a section, it's going to be really cooking. And I like to blend the edges because you guys know I like the softness of colors. And I hope to goodness it looks as good as I think it will when it's on the house. And I've set the duration to 0. Now remember, this is just for this ring that's going in a circle. I set it to 3 blades. The width, so as it gets faster, the blades will get larger. And the width will go to 100. And of course the position, just getting it to fit inside of my P10 matrix. Next is the Santa Man. I'm not sure if I'm going to go with this Santa or another Santa that looks good spinning in there, but for right now I think it's cool. It's another GIF image. You can see here I'd already resized it so it fits just fine. And this, I am telling it 1 reveals 2. You see 2 reveals 1, here's 1 reveals 2. And you're probably thinking, okay, why is your Santa spinning? Because RotoZoom rocks. So I am using a spin. I believe I'm using the, I want to say it is the 1 rev clockwise. And it's interesting that it doesn't keep the preset up here. I don't know if that's something the xLight guys can hit on, but I'm pretty sure that's what is going on with that. Let me make sure I'm right about that, because I make all these changes all the time. Movement is none, so that's not it. I just want to make sure before I have these guys yell at me. So my matrix, this is the Santa Man. I have no movement up here, and I turned the frame rate adjust down because he does move, and it didn't look right, him kind of moving his foot all around and flipping the guitar while he's spinning, so I turned that down. So I know I have one of these spin tools on so that he spins and he speeds up. And I think if I choose this, let's see if I'm right. I have the acceleration, rotation. I may be wrong. See, now he's not really spinning. So I might have messed that up. And, oh, here it is. Duh, Ron. Spin, clockwise, acceleration. And this is it here. All right, sorry about that, guys. Sometimes I forget, and it's late in the day. But this is the one that makes this object spin faster and faster and faster until it fades out and done. Awesome. And you can make that go faster. Well, I don't know if you can make that go any faster here. Zoom quality, I'm not going to mess with it. So that is the Sandman spinning and playing. And then on the very top, I told this 2 reveals 1, and I wanted to put these twinkles behind so that they would match the house and have that cool effect. And that's it through there. If we go to the next section, let's just see what we're going to be working with here. I'm going to get to the end of the spin.
Ho, ho, ho!
Okay, so I had a blast doing this, and I found some really cool artwork. These GIF images have Santa just kind of busting loose, and that was just a lot of fun. So I was really excited about that. And if we look at what I'm doing up here, let's just go up to the whole house. And I have fire that's on the bottom part. And then that's going to transition into some snow. But in this section here, fire, my spinner, or actually that's my wreath, is kind of a cool setting. I am using a single line with red and white. And then I have my spinners. Oops, let me go back over here. I have my spinners just kind of blinking and using single line for this. And this is, again, the single strand. My band size is 1, skip size 1, starting position 1, number of advances 44, and telling it left, but single line, and just the red and white. And it gives a cool effect. So what I like about this is the house has this interesting thing going on here. So there's kind of some commonality between this and the fire going here. So that was working for me. And let me just get this out of the way a little bit more. There we go. And here's the other spinner. And then we went to the windows. These are just chasing lines, the same colors. And then the mega tree. So the mega tree started off with using tree. Everything was set to default. 1 is unmask. I'm using red, green, and black. Remember, black can create that really cool separation. 5 branches, speeds 1. And, I just lost myself. And then I put a spiral on top of that with red, green, blue, and black. And that's set to normal. And here are my settings. You can always do screenshots if you want to try to do the same thing. And then here is the fire. And that's set to effect 2. And that's the cool effect we get. We have this just kind of moving along here. It looks kind of cool. It makes it look like that section's moving because of the spirals coming down. So I kind of dig that. That's fun. The rest of this were the eaves. And you can see here, I'll pull this back over. I just wanted something to kind of give me that candy cane look. And I think we did it. All right, this next section, let's just kind of go over.
He's got no time to stop and chat. He moves so fast, but he stays so fast.
All right, so this is something I've been noticing. When this happens, it's not going to play back for me because it wants me to render it. So I'm not really sure why that's happening. If I click on these effects, then of course it shows it fine. And even down here, the problem is it's not showing the matrix. So I'll just kind of go over a couple of these really quick. I may this may be overkill with the number of graphics I have in here, but I'm trying to tell a story, but I'm trying not to be too blatant about it. And each one of these impacts what the lyrics are saying, and I know some will like this and some may not, because it can be just too much. But everything I have going on with this is centered around what the story is saying. If we go up here, the tree, just real simple. I try to tie in the colors with the tree so it complements the house. So I don't have anything where your eye is bouncing from left to right. I used to teach color theory back in the Kinko's days, and you pick up some pretty good information about where the eye is pulled between contrast, between lightness and darkness. And in photography, it's all about center of interest. And in cinematography, it's telling a story. So I'm not saying I'm a genius at any of that. It's just these are things I do think about when I'm sequencing. It's no different than making a video or working on a photograph or trying to put together some music. That's just me. That's just the way I think. So here's the tree I'm using on the bottom. I kind of got stuck using twinkles, so I'm still using it. And then I used garland. And then I used a spiral and another spiral. Oop, there we go. And that's the effect we got. And I'll just scroll down here. These are all set to normal. And I think that was it. The tree topper was using something I haven't used a whole lot, and that is this guy up here, the ripple effect. But I really like what this does. And I'm telling it to use the layer star. Now remember, when you're creating your star, or you're creating, let's just say you're creating a star, there's great tools in xLights to help you do that. And I've had some people ask about that. So if I go to my layout and I click on the star over here, you're going to see this section here, how it's set up. There are 270 pixels in my star, so it's one string, I tell it. 270 pixels, there's 5 points. I'm telling it to control it from the bottom and to go clockwise. And then the layers are, this will be a Boscoyo star that I haven't purchased yet, but I will. So the center star is 20 pixels, then the next ring is 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70. And that's how it creates this. And what's nice about that, when you are sequencing to the star, let's say I want to put, let's just say I'm going to put something here. Actually, let's not do it that way. Let me double click on my tree topper. If I only wanted to put it on strand 1, and I could drop an effect, we'll just put it over here. It's only going to be that section. Drop an effect here. It's going to be the next one. And so on. So you could do some really interesting things with each individual layer if you want to just get crazy with it. So don't feel like you have to do that, separate them out. The software does that for you. All right, let me get rid of these guys. All right, sorry for that segue. Let's see what this next section is, because I'm not remembering all of a sudden. Here we go.
On and on, sleigh bells ringing, up and down the boulevard, his reindeer speeding through the night.
I'll have a mega tree in there.
Rudolph.
And that little section right there was a whole house section that I did that was really, really short. And this is using that tool again that I used a while ago. This is the ripple, using a square and using implode. And I told it to use this section here so that it didn't grab any of the tree. And it doesn't really matter, because once I sequence something different on the tree, it would ignore that. However, by me pulling this over, it creates the center point to come in where my P10 panel matrix is. So I want everything to come in and stop right there, so that when it kind of fades into that, that's where my next visual piece is on the matrix. And it's a real short piece. And then I think that was about it. Everything else were just lines. I have some other things going on that I'm going to be putting in here. My tree topper, and of course my mega tree was just doing this thing here, which is just meteors, telling meteors to go left, and choosing red, black, and it looks like black, but that should be all black. Let's see. Okay, that's fine. I made a mistake choosing my color. And everything else is left alone. And then there's a section where it talks about Rudolph's red nose, glowing red hot. So this is simply just an animated GIF that's spinning on the tree. And it's kind of cool. So I've got a lot more work to do. All right, so that's it for now. Drop me a line. Let me know what you think. Hopefully, I will have this entire piece sequenced and finished by this weekend. Some of these other sections here, I'm going to copy some from the other and change them. I don't like repeating sections that are identical to the previous section. That's just me. But in the interest of time, some things will have to be copied because I'm going to end up working on this thing for way too long, and I've got to get to my Halloween stuff and finish that up. All right, thanks for hanging out, guys. Take care. Have a good evening.